welcome to this segment of Works in Progress. My name is Allison Harper, and thank you for joining us today. So March is Women's History Month, and what better way to celebrate it than to have one of our employees be highlighted. Today we have Lisa Farrell with the Bridges Division here with us today. Thank you, Lisa, for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's go ahead and just dive in, get some information about you. So can you give us, what is your title?
My title is an Engineer 2 in the Bridge Division, Bridges and Structures.
Okay, so how long have you worked for the City of Chesapeake?
I have been with the city, I'm in my 26th year now.
Wow.
It hasn't always been with bridges though. I actually started in the real estate assessor's office.
Okay.
For a few years trying to find my way into engineering.
Wow.
And then when something opened up in public works, I was able to jump over and start engineering.
So how long have you been in public works?
I have been in public works since 2004.
Okay, so quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And then I've been in bridges since 2006.
Wow, okay. All right, well, nice. So can you give us some background on what first inspired you to pursue the engineering field?
It goes all the way back to high school. I actually was involved in art. I enjoyed drawing a lot, so I was starting to pursue that. I took a lot of art classes.
Okay.
But once I got into high school and realized I enjoyed math just as much, I really liked math and all the classes that I had to take, I started to think, what am I going to do? Thinking about college, so I got into the mechanical drawing side and drafting and even architecture in high school. So that's where I was able to choose my career path in college and what I wanted to do.
Okay, well, great. So bridges and structures. So I'm sure you see a lot of interesting things and do a lot of different things probably on a weekly basis. So what would you say is the most interesting part of your job?
I think the most interesting part and my favorite part is actually going out and climbing on the structures. I mean, we have the 3 movable bridges.
Right.
Great Bridge, Gilmerton.
The Centerville one?
Centerville Turnpike. I think it's really neat to be able to, specifically Gilmerton, because they've got the really tall towers and
Yes.
you get to climb and see all the mechanical parts and the things that typical people just driving by don't get to see, crawling underneath the structure and on the truss, and I just think that's really neat to be able to do that.
So you're all part of the process of bridge inspections, bridge repairs, anything that has to do with any of the bridges. If you have to go out, you're a part of that process.
Yeah, I'm primarily inspections,
Okay.
And then we come up with the list of recommendations for our mechanics and electricians of any repairs that need to be done.
Okay.
That enables us to maintain and keep them running.
Right. So engineering, obviously, I'm sure, as you know, has historically been male dominated. So what has been your experience with this?
That is a very accurate statement. I've been, like, my whole engineering career has been with the city, so I don't have a lot of outside experience.
Okay.
But it definitely has been male dominated. I have seen more and more females. There've been a few, and even recently we've had women in higher positions in the leadership roles and in charge of the departments, and so that's been pretty neat seeing that.
Yeah. Have you experienced any challenges working in the field?
I think the biggest challenge for me was actually just getting into the field.
Okay.
Right out of college, I wasn't able to jump right into engineering. I was looking for jobs, and it was tough for me. I don't know. I got some bad advice from advisors. One particularly said, you know, there's the professional licensure, like you take your tests and get licensed, and one of them actually said, you know, that's not a big deal. Some people look at it, some people don't. You shouldn't have any problem finding a job, you know, with your degree. So I, like any college student, I kind of blew that off at the time.
Right.
And then trying to find positions was actually really tough. So I just stayed at the current job that I had, which was at the airport at the time, and just kept applying and just trying to get something in engineering.
Right.
And eventually I got in with the city as a real estate appraiser. So that, I mean, I was able to draw houses, so that was kind of interesting to me. But so it did take a while to get into engineering for me. And then once I got into engineering, then I tried to pursue getting the license, and I was able to take the first test anyway, and I got that license. But I think that was the most challenging, is actually getting into the field as far as my career went.
Okay. Well, so public works. So most residents and motorists, they don't really think about public works until something goes wrong. Obviously, you're well aware if there's an issue with the bridge, it impacts motorists and their travel. So can you kind of describe what impact does your work have on the everyday lives of residents?
I don't think that people realize actually how many structures we do have. I mean, everybody sees the big bridges. And they're familiar with those since they open, and they're more of an inconvenience with traffic. But we actually, I'm looking at 145 structures throughout the city.
Wow.
There's culverts and overpasses over railroads, every little gap that spans waterways. There are so many bridges out in the country, and all these, people cross many of them every day, and I don't think they realize that we maintain those and keep those operating and functional so they don't interfere with traffic and cause people not to be able to get to where they're going.
And most of those have to meet certain standards too.
Yes,
so.
yes. They're all on a, most of them are on a 2-year cycle where we inspect them. Some are on a 1-year cycle, depending on condition and age. But yeah, there's conditions put on them, and that's what our job is just to make sure that those stay up to the proper condition and the standards where they need to be.
Wrapping all this up, what advice would you give to young women that want to enter into the engineering field?
I think not just for women. I think the main thing I would say was, if you want to pursue a career in engineering, I would take advantage of anything you can while you're in college. Any internship, any people you might know that are already in the field. Work on your licensure, take your tests, and get that under your belt. That way you have everything you need to get hired. I mean, people actually, they like to see you've actually taken that first step and taken the test towards your professional engineer license.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate everything that you do in public works and for keeping the residents safe here in Chesapeake.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's a wrap on this segment of Works in Progress. We'll see you next time.